Hi, my name is Dirk, and in this little video I want to share some of the technical details from the shooting of my short film Roots. This may be interesting because this film was entirely shot on an iPhone 4. First of all, I want to talk about the app we use for shooting. It's a little app called Almost DSLR. Maybe you can see it here. It's that little blue icon. And we use this one because Apple's own photo and video app has some shortcomings because it's mainly designed for point and shoot videos. So this has all kinds of automatic adjustments like exposure or focus and white balance, which is quite cool when you're using this to shoot any kind of birthday party or whatever. But when you're shooting a film, you want to have your exposure and your white balance. You want to have this locked. You want to have the same image appearance even if you pan with your camera through various lighting conditions. So Almost DSLR is an app that allows you just to do that. You can separately select focus with one tap, exposure with two taps, and you can set and lock your white balance as well. And so from then on, when it's all locked, you can just move your camera around and have a constant exposure and white balance, etc. Another very cool thing of the app is the option that you can use grids. Maybe you see these kind of horizontal and vertical grid lines here. These help you follow the rule of thirds, which is a basic principle for composing your image and then creating more interesting imagery. Because if you're just having your main object in the center of the image, it tends to look a little boring. So if you're just moving it slightly to the left or to the right, to 1/3 of the image, that's looking a lot more interesting, and these grid lines help you to do so. And another cool side effect of the camera is, of the iPhone, is it has a really bright display. So even when you're shooting on the outside and in direct sunlight, you can still see everything on the display rather well, which is really quite handy and not always the case in cheap point and shoot video digital cameras. So this is the software, the app we use with the iPhone. But we also use some additional hardware gear and yeah, mainly some lenses. And one of the lenses that we use is actually this one here. It's a telescope lens, 6x zoom factor. If you would just recalculate that to 35mm film measurements, this would be roughly a 300mm lens, a zoom lens. So this is really handy when you want to shoot things that are really, really far away. For example, we use this one for shooting the airplanes, starting and landing airplanes at the airport, where we captured planes that were actually about 2.5 miles away, so 3 to 4 kilometers away. We could capture these with that lens while starting and still following them in the sky. So that was quite handy. But it was also really important to use that kind of lens when you're shooting close-up shots. So for example, at the phone call, we needed shots of the actress, really close-up shots from the face, so you can see all the tiny eye movements and nostrils and all things that really express feelings. But if you're using a normal lens, you would have to go this close to the actor's face. So, but it's really not possible, and it really distracts the actor in such an intimate moment. And the zoom lens actually allows me to stay a couple of meters away while still shooting close-up shots on the face. So that was one lens that we used. You can get this at a lot of online shops. It's roughly between like $10 or $15. That's not really big investment. The second lens that we've used is this one. It's a fisheye lens, so it has a 180-degree angle. And if you use it on a photo camera, in the photo mode on the iPhone, you really have almost like round images and really 180-degree viewing angle. If you use this lens in video mode, you just have a very, very wide angle lens. I'd say about 120 to 140 degrees opening angle. And so we could use this one pretty well when we had to get close to the actress because there was no space. For example, in the scenes on the train, where we just sat on the opposite side of the compartment and had very short distance, but we need to capture a little more of the scenery. As well in the apartment of the grandmother, where we had very, very little space to move, but still needed to show all the things hanging on the walls or to the left and the right of the actress. So there we need this wide angle lens for it. So now what's really important when you're shooting is that you don't spend a lot of time while you just adjust your equipment. And so it was really very, very useful that the telescope lens comes with a crystal case to snap on your iPhone, just like that. And then you can just slide in the lens on the iPhone and use it for shooting. And when you don't want to use the telescope lens, just slide it out and you still have the hole for your normal camera. So you can use this one to shoot in both camera modes. Even better, the fisheye lens came with a little magnetic ring that, well, you usually should glue that to your iPhone, which for obvious reasons I didn't do, but I glued it to the crystal case of the telescope lens because there was still enough place inside. So I now have the option to attach the wide angle lens, no lens, or the telescope lens without changing any kind of case or something on my iPhone. And even better, we need to attach the iPhone to some kind of tripod or Steadicam device. With a thing here, you can also get this at online shop for about like 15 to 20 bucks. By the way, also the wide angle lens is like $10 to $15. And this is a universal smartphone mount, like really a spring attached to that. And you can use this one to just move in your iPhone. It's really tight and it really holds it quite well. You can have the crystal case still attached all the time. So we could leave this one, the iPhone, on the tripod or on the Steadicam device, because this thing has a standard tripod screw mount, 1/4 inch screw mount, I guess. And I can still change the lenses and the whole phone from the tripod to one or the other device without fiddling around with all the bits and pieces. So that was really, really quite handy. Talking about tripod, we had two different devices that we used for shooting. One is a standard photo tripod. It's quite old but quite good quality. Really important was that it was a rugged device that would really stand stable, even if you're shooting on the outside on uneven grounds or windy situations. And also very important is the fact that it has some kind of a dampening, so you can move it around when you want to pan your shots, that you have a really smooth and even movement, while cheaper tripods tend to have no dampening here, and so any kind of panning would be a little, yeah, not very nice. So that was one tripod that we used. On other moving shots, or we didn't have enough place, we used a Steadicam device called Steady Wonder. It's from a German manufacturer, and it was the Steady Wonder Lite, which was designed for small digital cameras or camera phones, and it is pretty easy to balance, pretty small actually, that device. And as it uses standard tripod mount, it was a really quick mount plate. We were able to quickly change between the Steadicam device, the Steady Wonder, and the standard tripod. So that makes shooting really easy. As far as lighting goes, we just use a very, very simple 400 watt lamp from the local home improvement hardware store. Nothing big, something as well for about like 20-25 euros. So that was quite easy to do. And so we didn't spend much money for shooting the video, but we hope you still like it, and we think it's a very nice movie for such low production costs. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the movie. Bye.